I set foot out the door of the B&B into the dawning day, bright-eyed and excited for the adventure ahead. I had a rucksack filled with all the essentials for a day out running in the hills. I was prepared and ready to explore the Wicklow mountains. Capure was my first ascent at 757 metres. I tread along a road for several miles before arriving at the base of Capure. I glanced up at the mountain as I neared her featureless sloping sides. She was green and pastured, gentle and soft. Gradually I rose up her northeast flank, passing 2 corrie lakes. Wow, look at that fresh, cold water. Oh, I really want to plunge straight into it. How good would that feel right now? I have a right sweat on. No, I have to keep climbing. I have 10 more mountains to go up. Geez, I must be mad. I chuckled to myself, feeling lavish with enthusiasm and awe. I'm not mad. I live to do this. I feel such direction and focus. My energy is drawn from a deep, righteous anger. Hill running is my expression, my release, my therapy. See Fingen and See Finn are my next 2 peaks. They reside next to each other, surrounded by bog with grassy tops. I'm happy it's not raining. There is a warning sign for a military zone ahead, accompanied by extensive views to the west of the mountains. I wonder which of those tops I'll be climbing later today. I feel like I glide over Carriglitrim, which is technically not a mountain at 460 metres, and arrive at Sorrel Hill. Sorrel Hill is another mound of bland grass, easy to climb, which means I could focus my attention to the distant landscapes. I'm about halfway round. I'm doing well. Legs feel strong, snacks are holding out. Wet feet, but that's a guarantee when delving into bogland. The next few mountains all blurred into a continuous struggle along a boggy ridge. Black Hill, Moanbane, Muckleven and Luggala. At the top of Luggala, down its steep eastern granite cliffs, was Lough Tay, a beautiful body of sparkling water, an enticing lure of relief from heat and exhaustion. I have 2 more summits to climb and only 10 kilometres. I'm going for it. I descended Luggala, taking a detour towards Lough Tay. I stripped to my pants and submerged myself in the clear, caressing liquid, soaking up and savouring the feelings of pure, blissful relief as my tired, hot body buoyantly accepted the lake's embrace. Feeling energised, I skipped off to conquer the final 2 mountains and made my way back to the Horse and Crown for a well-deserved pie and pint. After 30 minutes or so of running, I realised I was heading in the wrong direction. I must have got muddled up taking the detour. I took out my map and compass to realign myself with the directions and get back on track. I didn't feel panicked. I had run in the hills at night and found the darkness holds a strange sort of solitude that builds character and resilience, and like I always tell myself, my comfort zone is beautiful, but nothing ever grows there. I was back on track and managed to climb the last 2 mountains, War Hill and Ton Duff. By this point the sun had settled down behind the hills and the stars had started to pinprick the darkened sky. I was running down off the slope, relieved, tired and hungry. I arrived at undulating green fields. Just a few more kilometres and I'll be at the road. As I crossed the first field, I saw a black shadow dash across the corner of my eye. I froze. What the hell was that? Was it an animal? I glanced around, trying to calm my breath and demeanour. I ran on. I'm just tired and seeing things now. I just need to get back to the pub. I ran and I ran and I ran. It felt like time had stood still. I looked at my phone and 3 hours had passed. It was 1 a.m. How did that happen? I could be anywhere. I can't see a thing. I had 15% on my phone battery and no signal. No idea where I was and no idea where the time had gone. I ran until eventually I came to a wall with a fence. I saw the faint outline of a building. Yes, it's a bothy. I will stay here the night until sunrise. Then maybe it will make more sense if I can orientate myself from the mountains. I mean, at least I'll be able to see what's ahead of me. I drifted in and out of consciousness, curled up in the corner of the stone building, waiting impatiently for dawn. I suddenly woke, startled. I looked out the door. and there stood a black shadow. No, it was a dog. I could just make out the outline against the gloom. He stood there, neither aggressive nor passive, and the only part of him that wasn't black was the white of his teeth, which gleamed against the incomprehensible darkness. His eyes were even black, completely black. I felt no compulsion to run or scream. I actually felt no fear at all. I was almost transfixed. I felt lightheaded, and the next thing I remember was a bright flash of light. I opened my eyes and it was dawn. I left the bothy to find I was just a field away from the pub, and felt completely annoyed. Had I been running in circles? Who knows? Who cares? I just needed nourishment and a warm bed. That afternoon I went down to the bar to have that well-deserved pie and pint. I was chatting to one of the locals about what had happened. "You don't want to be going in that field over there at night. It's dangerous. I'm surprised you made it out alive. I heard stories about men going missing at night in those fields. Apparently it's the fairies, you see. They don't like us folk. They take the form of animals like the dog you saw, and they can change into any form. They are neither human nor animal. They are fallen angels from heaven that reside in our world. If you enter their territory at night, you may not come out. You, girl, are lucky to be alive." I couldn't really believe what I was hearing, and feeling dismantled, I sank my pint and headed to bed. I was asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow, but was awakened by a low, growling noise. I sharply bolted awake to find I was back in the bothy. The dog was stood in front of me, staring directly at me. His eyes were so dark they could have been black holes sucking me in. As I stared into his eyes, I felt woozy again.